Yo, what is up, yo? It is the third man to fuck Adam 22's girl coming at you again with another video. Now, podcasts can either be the most hilarious shit you've ever seen or absolute fucking purgatory, right? It's and sometimes they're caught in the middle. Sometimes it's like a bunch of awkward shit followed by some funny, weird moments, right? Today I want to talk about the most embarrassing moments. Like the level of cringe where it actually hurts you to fucking watch it. Alright guys, the first one I want to talk about is George Janko walking out of Impulsive and dealing with Bobby Lee shoving his fucking dick, his nutsack, in this guy's face, man.
He is clocked out.
Yeah,
I know.
George has been under a tremendous amount of abuse.
No,
No, stop, George. I want you over here with me. George, I want you over here with me. Chase him down. Go.
Like, literally shoving his... Just watch this for a sec, alright?
No, smell. You gotta smell it.
I just wafted,
Dude. Dude, this is not gay. It's podcasting. It's for entertainment.
It's material.
And in improv, you never disagree. Okay. You always agree. Because yes and you ruin the fucking moment if you don't do it. So you're gonna fucking smell my dick, and it's not gay.
It's material, George.
Yeah. So here. I have to grab your head.
No.
George Janko is one of the co-hosts on this podcast called Impulsive. It's hosted by Logan Paul. Bobby Lee, being the comedian that he is, thought, whatever, I'm gonna shove my ball sack in this guy's face. It's gonna be fucking hilarious. Everybody's gonna love it. Everybody's gonna love it. No, you fucking freak. I genuinely felt bad for George here, bro. Like, when you're watching this, you know how uncomfortable he feels. And later on, we come to find out, if George didn't fucking do this, Logan was gonna fire him off the podcast.
He started the episode putting his balls in my face. I let that one go. Then every 2 seconds, he kept grabbing my dick. I don't think... How would you feel if a man that has his back completely towards you, that only turns around to grab your dick, right, talk shit to your face, and you can't smack or beat the living brakes off of this guy? Because Logan makes me apologize to this man, or I don't have a job on Impulsive anymore.
Granted, I don't give a fuck where you fire me from. There's no way in hell you're doing this to me. There's no way in hell Bobby Lee is doing this to me. I don't care. I genuinely do not care. There's no... Shove his nutsack in my face? This nigga looks like dirty rice. I'm not letting him do that to me. I don't care. That's absolutely nuts. This shit really made me understand the levels that people will go to for attention. And I know what you're thinking, bruh, you're literally making YouTube videos, like, for attention, to do this shit, like, to get attention. I get it, alright? I understand. I'm not putting my nutsack in niggas' faces. Like, as much as I would like to, pause, as much as I would like to, I'm just not. I'm not. There are certain lengths that some people will go to just to get eyes on them. And I feel like that's kind of like what's fucked up right now with everything, is like, people are revealing the most embarrassing stories of themselves on social media. They're doing stuff like this to get attention because they think it'll bring in more views. And which it will. That type of drama brings in attention. It brings in views. But it's fucking weird. Alright guys, next I want to talk on a podcast that was apparently never released, and this was the Nelk and Andrew Schultz podcast. For those of you who don't know, Nelk was like originally a prank channel, and I'm not gonna lie, I used to watch their pranks, like when it was just Kyle and Jesse, when they were first like gaining traction on YouTube. I used to watch their shit. I don't really watch or keep up with their podcast now, but they're still doing good, whatever, right? They have Happy Dad and shit. That shit is kind of valid. But they had a comedian on there, Andrew Schultz. I don't know what is good with comedians and being like the center of fucking drama for podcasts.
Oh, yes! The pod now! It's time for war now!
So they had Andrew Schultz on there, and it was one of the most uncomfortable, unprofessional podcasts ever fucking done, bro. So damn weird.
Nothing bothers you?
You looking at your phone while we're doing this interview, and everybody's seeming disinterested.
Were you looking at notes or texting girls?
Notes.
Yeah.
I'm trying. What do you mean?
Me taking time out of my day to do this, and then feeling
Dude,
like
I've
I'm
never
forcing you guys to do the podcast.
Schultz feels uncomfortable that they're unprepared, and he's like, these people don't even know anything about me. They're not asking me any real questions. They're just asking me the most basic, simple questions about who I am as a comedian, right? What happens is Steiny, one of the co-hosts, ends up texting during towards the beginning of the interview, right? Towards the beginning of the pod, Steiny ends up texting. Schultz catches on to that and is just like, you guys do not give a fuck that I'm here. Like, you guys actually don't care. Steiny gets called out for this, right? And the whole time, Schultz targets him.
I do feel hurt because I feel like you got pissed off at me.
Well, that's what happens when you have real reactions when you're being phony.
When was
you're
I phony?
phony with somebody
When
and
was
then
I
you get a
phony
real
with you?
reaction, you can't be upset.
When was I phony
But
with
you're
you?
doing exactly what you should do. You should try to get your moments. This is a good moment for you.
Bro, you're crazy. You think I'm doing this for clicks?
Even the way your voice sounds when you say it isn't real.
Are you
Do
serious
you think
right
you're
now?
being real?
I'm
Just try to
asking
be
you.
you.
I mean,
But I do sense that you're playing a bit of a character, and I don't have as much of a tolerance for characters as I do for authenticity.
you don't think I'm being authentic?
I think in certain moments you were, and that kind of like irritates me.
In what? Can you give us an
Especially
example?
if it's antagonistic. If you're playing a character because you're insecure and you're just trying to do your best to like exist in this moment, which is a high stakes moment, that's okay. I think you need attention. I think you're doing anything you can to get attention. And right now you're making this podcast about you, which is the most boring part of the conversation. I honestly can't tell if you're playing a character or not. And I think that that's a real problem. I think it's a real
How do I know that you're not playing a
socializing
character
problem.
right now?
You don't. You just have to decide if you do. The fact that you're upset makes me feel like you don't think I am.
Schultz goes in on this kid, bro. It like actually becomes a therapy session. He's going in on this kid so much to the point where like he's like, you're a persona. Nothing about you is real, bro. Like, you're a fake person. Like, you're just doing this shit for clicks. Like, there's nothing about you is real. Which is hilarious because, you know, like, later what we kind of know about Andrew is, like, his ego is crazy. But in this moment, he's right. He's right. These people are super unprepared. One thing about Andrew's podcast is at least he's prepared. He knows who the fuck he's interviewing. These kids have no idea. They go into this podcast. They don't know a damn thing about the guy. They're not asking anything. And they seem disinterested as hell in the interview. Like, obviously, he's going to be tight. Anybody would be tight. You can't call me on your podcast and then not ask me any questions that actually relate to me as a person. What is going on? Be prepared if you're gonna interview somebody, bro. Like, be prepared. All this shit could have been avoided if they just knew like a couple things about the guy. A couple things. All this shit could have been avoided. Like, the next one I want to go into is a podcast I used to watch on YouTube a lot, but this shit's old. This isn't recent news like the other ones, bro. I used to watch this show on here. Podcast show. I don't know what the fuck you would call it, bro. It was more so a show than anything, right? It's called Everyday Struggle. DJ Academics, Nadeska, and Joe fucking Buddy, man. Now, for those of you who don't know, DJ Academics started his career doing YouTube, but he started his career doing YouTube videos about the war in Chirac. That's what his series was called. He would cover the deaths and the gang wars in Chicago. It wasn't really music based. He would do music reviews and shit like that, but that was not music based. Like, he would literally report on the crimes, the shootings, the murders of Chicago. And Chicago 2012, 2013, 2014 was King Von era. That was Lil Durk era. That was Chief Keef era. Lil Reese. All of these guys, right? Even Vic Mensa, Chance the Rapper, all these dudes are from Chicago, right? Ack would report on the deaths, but he would also give these niggas monikers. He would give... Ack was giving niggas monikers, bro. Like the Grim Reaper, the Angel of Death, that type of shit. And that didn't sit right with other people, other rappers who blew up from Chicago. They ended up having a problem with it. Vic Mensa being one of them.
Chief Keef didn't like me, Dirt didn't like me. I mean, I think they grew to understand that the content was not just negative.
There was nothing constructive about it. And I'm gonna tell you the truth, I really think you a bitch. Because
in what sense?
Because making all these jokes, oh, here's another Chirac Savage, like this guy's stupid, he messed with the Grim Reaper. Like, nigga, this is not a video game. That's a nigga I grew up with, I've known since I was 5 years old. And to see you come on the internet and like with this corny ass little voice and make jokes about it, like, you know, I was waiting to see you. And it's a couple people waiting to see you. I heard you say you didn't want to come to Chicago when I sat down, because you clearly don't, because you really couldn't even stand outside.
Bro, this nigga really called Ack a bitch to his face. And the only thing he said, the only thing Buddy said was, how so? How am I a bitch? Bruh, what is going on? What do you mean, how are you a bitch? The last person I expected this shit to come from was Vic Mensa. But when I was watching this shit, and this was like 6-7 years ago, when I was watching this shit, I was like, what? This nigga really came on Everyday Struggle and was like, Ek, you're a bitch. You're a hoe. And Ek was just like, yeah. Basically, he wasn't hiding his contempt. And he calls Ek out. He embarrasses him on his own show. And Ek, now, you wouldn't expect Ak to handle or deal with situations like this because his persona is so out there now, right? He's such an intense guy now. But I feel like even back then, Vic Mensa, Lil Durk, G Herbo, all these guys kind of had him pegged. Like, he's an internet gangster, bro. Like, he acts hard as shit when he's not really like that. And there's nothing worse than some dude acting like that when you're not really like that. I'm not acting like that. Nigga, I am a civilian. Thank God. I'm a civilian. I don't give a fuck. The hell? But if you're acting like that, you have to be ready for what comes with that, right? And he was kind of making fun of these guys and thought that nothing would happen. And, you know, I mean, I guess you could say nothing still happened, but he was confronted with it and embarrassed by the situation. And I think for Ak, for a person in media, your reputation is everything. So the way that you present yourself, the way that you carry yourself, just like for niggas who are in the street or whatever, their reputation is everything. For media, your reputation is everything, but in a different way. Instead of your reputation as, oh, I'm the most feared guy, oh, I'm the scariest nigga in the street, whatever. Your reputation in the media is, I'm the most credible. I'm the most entertaining. I'm the most intense. Whatever, right? Ak was discredited on this podcast, bro. I don't think people realize that because of where he is today. But I feel like he rebuilt and rebranded himself over time. This was 6 years ago. He's great now. I mean, not great, but he's in a much better place now, right? Just goes to show you, like, how over time people forget what you've been through, what happened to you. It's nuts. I know I was saying I was doing no order. This is the most embarrassing shit I've ever seen in my entire life. This is the most embarrassing shit I've ever seen in my entire life, bro. I'm talking about Adam22, aka Cuck22, and his wife, Lena the Plug. For those of you who don't know, Adam runs No Jumper. No Jumper is a brand, a channel on YouTube, a show where they discuss music, they discuss, I guess, hood politics. I don't fucking know, bro. I really don't know. I don't care about No Jumper, bro. It's a drama-filled wasteland. Let's just leave it at that, right? I'm biased, by the way. Lena the Plug is his wife. She's an OF star. Adam and Lena, and I want to say this was for marketing. I want to say this was for promotion because I absolutely hope that it was not for some sick pleasure on Adam's part, or maybe even on Lena's part. Adam lets this guy named Jason Love clap his girl. Clapping her shit and he nuts. He's also an OF star. So they're just doing content together, right? So Adam lets this guy, you know what I mean? He interviews his wife like he's doing a fucking... Like he's doing it... Like his wife just dropped 40 in the fucking garden. And he's doing a fucking interview with his wife like it's game day and shit. Bro, he interviews this joint and gives her a fucking like some sort of odd pep talk type of thing, and they talk about the whole situation with Jason Love. During that podcast, which he already shouldn't have had, why the fuck would you want to publicize? This has to be for marketing. I don't know what kind of money they made off of that. This has to be for marketing. During that podcast, Jason Love calls in, and they have a 3-way call.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of people want to know, I don't know, just like if I should feel diminished as a man as a result of this. Like the cuck narrative is very, very strong. I just want to get your thoughts on that, and if how people should think about that in the context of me being, you know, the silent third party in all this.
So it's not so much being a cuck. If you're comfortable with it, y'all communicated it prior. Obviously, she said y'all did. So it's not really a cuck situation. It's more of like two people coming and making an understanding.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're cool with it, then, you know, it is what it is. Me personally, I don't know if I have enough in me to allow it, but everyone's different. Everyone have different levels of, how do I say, mental maturity.
They have a 3-way call. Adam, his wife, yeah, that's his wife, and the nigga who clapped. I could never. Bro, I could never in my life do something like that. This nigga either is the most ballsy person I've ever met, or he has no concept of pride. No concept of pride. Because that's the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. What do you mean an after-game interview? What's going on?
This is making me very uncomfortable, and I'm glad that he's only, you know, on Zoom and not here right now.
You think that would be awkward?
Yes. Also, I feel like I'd feel a lot of sexual tension, and I felt like we would have to do a scene if you guys were both here.
See, she's out of control now. She's on a tear.
Why are you letting your wife get clipped? Oh! There's just no way. There's no way a rational person is doing something like this. He doesn't love her, bro. There's no way. I couldn't imagine. Like, you love her, bro? You don't love her, bro. You don't love her, bro. You don't love her. There's no way. All right, man. like he clapped her shit. He nutted in it hard, and then he told you he claps it better than you, and she didn't stand up for you. Oh my god. I'm about to start crying. What is going on, bro? This is what I mean by attention has taken things too far. Like, niggas are going too far just to get attention, bro. It's not that deep. It's really not. It's not that deep. Why are you throwing away everything about you as a person just for attention and views from random niggas who don't matter? Like, alright. That's all I got for you guys, man. Peace.